The stream stopped.
Oh. No, I'm just starting.
Okay. Try the link now, Josh.
You just resend it?
Mm-hmm. Try the link now, Josh. Okay, we're live.
You just resend it? I got it.
Mm-hmm. All right. Try the link now, Josh. Okay, we're live.
You just resend it? I got it.
Mm-hmm. All right. Try the link now, Josh. Okay, we're live.
You just resend it? I got it.
Hey, Josh, shut that video because it's playing over and over again. Okay, we're live.
You just resend it? I got it.
Hey, Josh, shut that
link that you just sent?
video because it's playing over and over again. Okay, we're live.
You just resend it? I got it.
Hey, Josh, shut that
link that you just sent?
video because it's playing over and over. There we go. All right. All right, we're going live now, man.
Sounds good.
Boom. What's up, everybody? Dave Suseski, Josh Clark. Josh, you're not wearing a Barry Sanders jersey. I'm upset. But you do have a salute to the troop shirt. Let's see it, man. I like it. Nice. Big game tonight, man. And the hat. We'll give you some love on the hat too, right? Big game tonight. Obviously, the Raiders are coming to town. A Raiders team that doesn't really scare a lot of people right now. I mean, they're struggling all over the field. I think the one thing that would scare me from them is Max Crosby. Shout out to Max Crosby. Just donated $1 million to Eastern Michigan. The field is going to be named after him. Yeah, I'm not going to say Charlie Batch is the best thing that's ever come out of there. So it's definitely Max Crosby. He's a beast. Oh my gosh, how nice would it be if he was the opposite side of Hutch? But probably not going to happen because they're not going to let him go. Josh, how you doing, man? You ready for tonight?
Yes, sir. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I'm looking forward to this game. Let's just get right to it. We are live streaming right now, which is exciting. But I want to talk about last week, going into this week, Josh. Obviously, you got to get that nasty taste out of your mouth. We talked a little bit about it last week, but you go and play the Ravens squad, who has been playing really good football. Right? I mean, they've been playing really good. We know they beat up on the Browns a few weeks ago, obviously getting the win against us. They've been rolling. Lamar Jackson's playing good. I think you just have to flush that. Obviously, as a team, you want to keep it rolling, but you're 5-2 right now. I think last night when Kirk Cousins got hurt, it kind of clinched it for us because, yes, they got the victory. It did, but you know what I mean? Like, they obviously got to pick up somebody. But did that do anything for you, Josh? I mean, do you think – well, first off, would you flush this from last week and just say, hey, it's a loss, but we were expected to lose that game. Let's just turn the page. We're still the division leaders. What are you feeling as a team?
I mean, obviously no one likes to lose, period. But, 38-6, I mean, it's a head scratcher.
Yeah,
especially with this,
that hurts.
Especially with the talent that the Lions has.
Yep.
The way that they've been rolling a little bit, the last, obviously the first quarter of the season, whatever the case may be.
Yep.
So it's definitely a head scratcher for sure. Last time the Lions and Ravens met up, I feel like the Ravens were a more talented team than what they have now, and the Lions were worse than what they are now. And it took a 66-yard field goal to beat the Lions.
Yeah.
When they met at Ford Field. So it's NFL, any given Sunday, man. You know what I mean? Like anything can happen. So it's crazy, but no, I think that's more of a one and done type of thing. I mean, they were kind of outmanned a little bit. They're injury prone going into that game.
Yeah.
Missing a few guys. But no, I like their makeup, and I think they're ready for a deep run here. And like you said, the Kirk Cousins thing, you definitely
Oh.
solidifies that division. I
And
don't
you
see the
hate to
back.
see that, you know?
I,
You hate to see it.
yeah, I was just reading an article up on the Vikings about what they were planning on doing with the quarterback situation. And right now, it said a rookie quarterback is
Yeah.
most likely who they're leaning on, Jaron Hall out of BYU, with Nick Mullins as their backup.
Ugh.
So that's
I
not a good
see
not a
they
good
they
situation to be in.
they say that, but you got to bring somebody in there, man. I mean,
I did see rumors,
Teddy
however, that
Bridgewater.
nope. I did see rumors, however, that there could be a potential phone call to the Patriots for Mac.
Oh, well, I mean, I think
Not
Belichick would
much.
say take him
It's not
cuz
much better than what they have right now, but it's definitely an upgrade.
yeah, I mean, yes, Bailey Zappi's an upgrade of what they have right now. So, yeah, I mean, but
Why he isn't starting is beyond me.
I don't get it. But I mean, hey, not our football team, and we're thankful that it isn't because there's some big problems there once Brady left town. Let's get into the run game, Josh. Obviously, um, Montgomery was hurt. He's not going to play. We know that. Jahmyr Gibbs, to me, Josh, has to have. He's got to have double-digit carries. It's got to be. He's got to outsnap any other running back on that team. I would say he's got to be out there 90% of the time. Has to be. Because Reynolds is okay to spell every now and then, but as we saw when he was put into a bigger role, he's not going to be as effective as David Montgomery out there. So Jahmyr Gibbs has to have blank many carries for the Lions to win tonight. Josh?
I don't even think he needs a particular
Touches.
amount.
How about that?
Touches. He
Yeah.
needs 20 plus touches.
There you go. There you
For
go.
sure. Rushing attempts, I mean, that's not really his forte, but he's going to. If you give him a hole, which the Lions can with their offensive line, he's going to break it.
Yeah.
The way that David Montgomery really can't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like David Montgomery's more of a between the tackles guy. I'm going to get you 6.
He's a
7
bruiser.
yards,
Yeah.
Like he's a bruiser. Jahmyr Gibbs, he's a special talent, man. Like the Lions. Like you drafted this kid, let's use him. Like let's put ourselves in the upper echelon of NFL teams. And
Right.
how do you do that? You use your talent, and that's Jahmyr Gibbs on the offensive side of the ball. That's Jamison Williams. That's Ross St. Brown. You know what I mean? Like those guys right there between the three of them. And when Montgomery comes back, those guys should be getting probably 80% of the touches.
Agreed. Agreed. Yeah. I mean, in my opinion, Reynolds only comes on the field to spell him like a carry here or there, but like. I got to see in terms of touches, and you're right, it's not his forte getting 20 plus carries, but I mean the guy can do it. He has done it before. They didn't necessarily throw the ball a ton at Georgia Tech when he played there. They never did, right? But he still shined there. He obviously went to Alabama after that. And got a little bit more publicity, right? Got some more eyeballs on him. It helped a bit. Doesn't hurt to be the leading tailback at Alabama. But listen, man, I think this team can win if he gets 20 plus touches. I'm with you. Give me an over/under in terms of Jameson Williams catches tonight, because for me, man, I'd love to see the guy get 5 catches, but why has he been non-existent in this offense outside, obviously, that one touchdown catch that he had against the Bucs a couple weeks ago?
If I'm being honest, I don't care how many catches he has. I need to see him take the cover off the defense.
Yeah.
At least one time in the first quarter.
Yeah.
They did. Like you went down quickly 7-0 last week. That should have been your first play from offense last week. Just Jameson run.
I don't understand. They just don't go to him.
Nobody is guarding him speed for speed cornerback wise in the NFL. Like
Agreed.
If you can just tell Goff to get the ball 40 yards downfield, 50 yards downfield, he's already going to be 10. He's already going to be probably 5-10 yards past his defender. Like just give him the ball.
Well, it's
so that's what I need to see.
I'm with you.
It's just him spreading the field and just like all verts, just go.
Here's the thing, Josh. It's going to come down to this. If they can block Max Crosby, and you can't forget, they have some other players there on defense as well. But in terms of Max Crosby there, he's going to get double teamed. You know that, right? So it has to happen that way. Obviously, they don't have Khalil Mack anymore. He's moved on. He's went to with the Chargers, right? He's at the Chargers
Yep.
now. But I don't even know who they're. Actually, I think they had Ngakwe for a little bit last year. He's moved on as well. So I don't even know who their other opposite rusher is. It doesn't really matter because Crosby's just getting QB pressures all day, just like Hutch. They're really a similar player. You know what I
Yeah, I was
mean?
gonna say
So
their defenses are kind of similar too in terms of the
they are.
defensive line, where it's Max Crosby and Nate Hudson just the only ones getting pressure on the opposing
But
quarterback.
like
So
every
it's
time, even though they're
yeah,
getting double teamed. And my
yeah.
whole thing is if you can buy Jared Goff a little bit of time, you can get that deep ball against this defense because they're not very talented in in the secondary. I like a few players on their team, but offensively they've been struggling too. They really have. Jimmy Garoppolo, everybody was like, "Oh, he's going to come here. He's going to be, steady Jimmy like he always is everywhere he is." But he's often injured, Jimmy Garoppolo. He's injured now, but he's going to play. We know that. But Jacobs, I think we've seen from running backs too, when you take time off, it is hard for them to come back and just take off. Jacobs and I think Taylor are starting to come on for the Colts, but it took him a little bit as well. But Jacobs really has not been anything close to what he was a couple years ago. And I see that trend continuing because that's one thing that Detroit does do is stop the run. With those big bodies up front with Bugs, who does definitely helps. Hutch more of a pass rusher,
McNeil,
but yeah,
yeah,
Aleem
yeah,
McNeil, that's another
yeah.
draft pick. So I think really, if you can get pressure on Garoppolo, really, we should blow this team out. I really feel that way because it's not a good team. Even their kicker, who's one of their best, one of the bright spots on the team is
Daniel
yeah,
Carlson.
Carlson. He's injured right now with a hamstring issue, which you never
Yep.
want to hear from your kicker. I don't know that he's dressing or not tonight yet. I hadn't seen that, but you can't kick the ball and you can't throw it, and you're not running it well. You should be able to be beaten, right? So the
Right.
Lions should take this game. What have you seen, in terms of the secondary that shows you that we should have any confidence in stopping Devontae Adams? Anything from you?
Well, I know we've had some injuries at that
Jacobs.
position, so I need to see like who's active, who's not active, to give a real answer on that. But I mean, if Jacobs is out there, I mean, I like that.
Right.
You can obviously put a safety over the top and Branch or Walker or whatever to kind of help him out there as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think Adams is going to get his probably 7 to 10 catches, probably close to 100 yards and a touchdown. That's what Devontae Adams does.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's what he does. Like, and that's the only thing that the Raiders do. Like, yeah, we're in for a good night.
And you know what, too? If you're thinking fantasy, and I shouldn't talk about teams that are playing against the Lions, but if you're thinking fantasy, Michael Mayer is a guy that you want to keep an eye on because tight ends do hurt this team.
Yep.
And that's another guy that could pick up probably 5-6 catches tonight, 50 yards, something like that, maybe a score. You never know, but
Michael Mayer, Austin
yeah,
Hooper's there, so
yep, exactly.
he's
Yep, but they've been trying to involve Mayer a lot more lately, obviously. But in terms of running backs, man, it's all Jacobs there. So he's going to get his touches. He's going to get his points. But if I'm looking at on the fantasy side of things, Josh, who's the biggest scorer tonight in this game? I think if he's okay and he's not hurt, he's not sick still, it's Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I think it's a no-brainer. What about you?
I mean, I would love that because I do have him on fantasy.
Well, there you go.
But no, personally, I think it's Jameer Gibbs.
Okay. Okay.
You know how big of a believer I am in Jameer Gibbs. I think he's the best off. I think personally he's the best offensive player on the Lions, fully healthy.
Yeah.
With a fully healthy roster. Obviously, him and St. Brown are probably 1A, 1B. Different
Right.
positions, kind of hard to, grade them together. But I just think Jameer Gibbs is a generational talent. I think he's a CMC type of player. I think he can take it. I think he can take it. I think he can take an offense from being good, or even great to being elite.
Yeah.
I think he's that type of player, and we need to just utilize him more. And I think if we do that, I don't think there is a team right now in the NFC that's beating us, just based on the way I've seen the Eagles play. They gave up 31 to the Commanders. Lions can easily do that. You know what I mean? Sure, the Eagles won, but
Yeah.
giving up 31, like the Lions have a defense now to kind of back up their scoring offense. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
And then
Agreed.
you have San Francisco, who's lost 3 in a row.
Brock Purdy looks bad.
They haven't looked really that good. You get some pressure on Brock Purdy, and all of a sudden he forgets how to throw a football to
Right.
his own team.
Right. Well, and he was also throwing it across his body. Now, he did throw a touchdown to Kittle, obviously, but what do you teach a young quarterback? Never throw across your body, not in the NFL. He's done that. He had 3 turnovers yesterday. He's starting to turn over the ball a lot, and what that is when you rely so much on a young quarterback rather than what their bread and butter is, which is just run the ball and play defense. But if the defense isn't playing well and you're from behind, you got to throw. So that's kind of what's hurt them, and they've looked I think Cleveland came out with the blueprint against them when they beat them because they beat them with P.J. Walker a few weeks ago, and as we know, he's not the greatest quarterback. You found that out yesterday when they blew that win. But I think for me, for this team to really turn the corner, because listen, they're going to win the division. Outside of a total collapse, they're going to win the division. It's not good. You want to start with Chicago. That's a team that's starting a guy that I don't even know if he belongs in the NFL. I like him, but I think it's Badgett. Is that what it is?
Yeah, Badgett.
So I like him. I love his story, but he did not look good last night. Okay, that's a team that's sitting Justin Fields. They're tanking. Okay, I don't know if it's for Caleb Williams or what's going to happen there, but they're tanking.
Well, they're not sitting Field. Field is injured.
Well, he's injured, but I'm saying they're not rushing him back. They're not in any rush to get him back here. And then you want to look at Minnesota. They just lost their quarterback, their franchise QB. They're not going to win the division. Green Bay, we already beat them. They're not good. Yeah. Jordan Love doesn't look good. I don't know what he'll look like in a few years. Maybe he'll be better because he has moments where he looks like he's serviceable. But that's your division. Yeah. It doesn't scare me, man. But if you want to get out of the division and start thinking wins in the postseason, which I think this team needs to think about, you have got to acquire another pass rusher. You have to.
Yep. And there's a couple of guys out there that I was looking up online, some rumored reports right now on the lines with the deadline being tomorrow. And there's actually 2 pass rushers within the division actually that are predicted to get looks from the Lions, and that's Preston Smith of the Packers and Danielle Hunter of the Vikings.
I want Hunter. I would love Hunter. Okay.
Those are 2 names right now that I'm hearing around the line.
So here, what do you feel about this? And you can say, hey, this would never happen or possible. What if we call them and say, hey, we need an edge rusher. You need a quarterback. We will give you Teddy Bridgewater and if you give us Hunter. Thoughts?
I mean,
we'll probably have to throw a draft pick.
I think Cousins is probably gone after this year anyways. I don't think they want to pay him, and now that he has a torn Achilles, Minnesota has no reason to pay him.
Agreed.
So no, I would love to get Bridgewater out of here. Not that I don't like him.
We don't need him.
We don't need him. I love Hendon Hooker, and if Jared Goff goes down, I would much rather see him on the field getting reps and learning the NFL.
If he's healthy, I don't know that he's ready, but yeah, I'm with you.
I'd much rather see him out there than Teddy Bridgewater. So I mean, why not trade Teddy to a team that he's familiar with and get some assets?
Be a good story.
Personally, I'm kind of mad that we didn't get Leonard Williams. It only took a second and a fifth.
Leonard Williams obviously getting traded. He goes to Seattle.
Yep.
Yeah, and honestly, Seattle did not look the best yesterday. They looked good at times, but they looked good in the first half, moving the ball against that Cleveland defense that looked pretty human. And they were able to come back and get that win and kind of steal it away from Cleveland. But Geno Smith turned the ball over. It's what he does, but Geno Smith's a lot better than I thought he was when he first came in the league. I'll give him that much, and he kills Detroit. He just kills. We make him look like a Pro Bowler. That's probably why he gets a Pro Bowl nod, outside of everybody else making it into the Pro Bowl, right? Because everybody does because they turned it down. But that's a big get for them. That's a big get because that defense there has started to look real good with Adams back, which I'm not a big fan of him anyways, but he's looked pretty good. He had a key tip yesterday in the end of that game versus Cleveland that And then you saw P.J. Walker get picked off, which they didn't really have a chance at that point with 30 seconds anyways. But still, that's a good player to pick up. Now, it's a lot of money that they owe him, and they're going to have to pay that. But at the same time, how serious are you about winning? And clearly, Seattle is. I need to see the Lions do the same thing. Go out and get somebody that you're not expected to get because also, okay, you said the Giants traded away. Okay, the Giants also have a few receivers I wouldn't mind bringing over here. Why not pick up Slayton or something? Why not as an Jones? You just lost the veteran Jones. He's got a personal thing going on with his family, which I feel for him. Williams clearly isn't ready right now. You're gonna have to have somebody else outside of your tight end and your number one receiver, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and that's a rookie tight end in Laporta. Obviously, you got your running backs, but you got to have somebody else catching passes, man.
Yeah, personally, if you're looking at Giants receivers, I think they're misusing Sterling Shepard.
Injuries though, ACLs. He's had two of them.
I get it, but he's been healthy. He's been healthy.
Maybe that's MetLife, right? MetLife is dangerous.
I think we can get Sterling for a cheap price. That's probably the guy that I would want if we're talking specifically Giants receivers.
Yeah.
A guy that I wouldn't mind, maybe Darnell Mooney. He can kind of fill a need there as well.
I have no problems with Darnell Mooney. I like him.
I know.
That's another player that's underused.
Yeah, exactly about what ready to say. He's underused. As ever since DJ Moore came in, they've more going to the tight ends, dumping off to Khalil Herbert and Roschon Johnson and the running backs. And
let me throw out a name for you. What about Jerry Jeudy? That's another Alabama guy.
If I'm looking at Broncos receivers, I don't really.
Cortland Sutton.
I don't think we need Jerry Jeudy because I think him and Jameson are kind of the same type of players.
Yeah.
They're kind of speedsters. They're built the same way. They can take the top off of defense, obviously. If like you said, if I'm looking at a Bronco receiver, it's Cortland Sutton if they're willing to sell.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, of course, they win yesterday, and they looked pretty good against the Chiefs, which,
Yeah. Crazy. Now they're going to get blown out. They'll lose by 20 next week.
It doesn't make any sense. The NFL's different from day to day, right? Every Sunday it's weird, man. And I tell you what, a team can look just terrible on Thursday, and then when they get a Sunday game the following week, they can look like one of the top teams in the NFL. You just don't get a lot of good football come Thursday, right?
No, right.
It's that turnaround, man.
Yeah, it's a very quick turnaround. 4 days off, but then you get 10 days off, and after that, so it's just like okay,
right.
Rested. Injury guys coming back if it's a minor injury, things of that nature. So I feel like the Broncos have talent. Peyton's a good coach. I mean, obviously Russell's going to need to be replaced here in the next year or two because he's getting older. I mean, Javonte Williams is a nice young back. McLaughlin's a nice young back.
Oh yeah.
They got talent everywhere.
For sure.
So I'm surprised that I'm hearing that they have players on the block right now because it's all their talent.
Well, I mean, we talk about the Broncos, and that's another team. They let Randy Gregory go, and I don't know that he's signed on anywhere.
San Francisco picked him up.
Well, there you go. See, that's what San Francisco does, man.
He played yesterday. Yeah.
See that's another guy that the Lions should have looked at. I'm tired of hearing what's about the culture, and we don't want to mess. Dude, just release a guy then. If he doesn't,
bring him in for the cheap. If he's not,
it's not Antonio Brown, dude. I'm not asking for too much.
If he doesn't fit the mold, get him out of here, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Doesn't hurt to look at him.
We always say, well, we don't want to ruin a good thing, but you want to make a good thing better, then bring in some of these guys and give them a shot. Because I can tell you, not everybody on that Lions team is going to be squeaky clean. It's the NFL, absolutely. Man. Let's just be real about it. And then obviously, go ahead.
And the Lions, honestly, too, they need to start building up more depth. I feel like.
Oh, agreed.
Safety position is pretty good. Like
secondary, there's none.
Right. We're thankful to have Tracy Walker after C.J. Gardner-Johnson went down. You know what I mean?
Well, he changed his name. It's not C.J. Gardner-Johnson anymore.
That's who he's going to be to me.
Do something or whatever. Did you see that?
Deuce Bigelow. Huh? All right.
Yeah,
Anyway.
right. Deuce Staley. Okay. Yeah,
Right.
Deuce Bigelow.
But no, yeah. Depth there is honestly like the biggest concern for me when it comes to the
Right.
Lions on that defense. The line looks good. You know, they got some depth pieces there. Cornerback has absolutely nothing right now with how depleted they are. So
Right.
that's got to be a key focal point when it comes to the trade deadline right now. I've seen, Jalen Johnson of the Bears. I've, seen the Lions rumored with Patrick Surtain.
Yeah.
I mean, just either one of those two would be a great addition. I mean, obviously Patrick Surtain's an All-Pro, so that would be the
Well,
obvious choice. But
I'm not
pricey
letting
guys,
Patrick Surtain go if I'm them. All right. I'm gutting it, but I'm not letting that guy go because he can play.
right,
He
right,
can ball. But I'm with you. But in terms of us being, because listen, as Lions fans, a lot of people are, and Colts fans, but we're not talking about them right now. But Lions fans, man, listen, we're a little afraid and hesitant of being called one of the top teams in the NFL. And then because you see games like last week and you're like, okay, well, wait a second. But if you understand the league and how it works, last week doesn't scare you. You move forward. Now, if you see a trend and you
yeah, great
lose
teams,
tonight,
great teams rebound.
that's the
That's what you
thing.
do.
And it's the
Great
NFL.
teams rebound. Right,
I'm sorry, but I remember the Patriots, going into that Super Bowl against the Giants, obviously undefeated at that time.
yeah,
How much
17-0.
pressure does that? Yeah, like you learn about your team after a loss. I'm not saying you want to go into a Sunday and say, "Man, I hope we lose because we'll learn something." That's not what I'm saying. But like being realistic, this team was not going to win every single game. So
Right.
you have to know that. It's how they look after a loss. That's
Yep.
what I want to see. And then it's
Especially a
not the
big.
same old Lions talk.
Right. Yeah. No, you nailed it on the head there. It's how are they going to look after losing to in my opinion, a top 3, top 4 AFC team?
Right.
So I mean, a potential Super Bowl possible matchup if they both get there. Do I
Right.
expect them both to be there? No, but
No.
injuries happen, things of that nature. Anything can happen, but it's possible. They're both going to be in the playoffs. They're both going to have a chance to meet up in the Super Bowl.
Agreed.
A top 5 defense that the Ravens have. Lamar is, probably the most mobile quarterback in the NFL, and the Lions have always struggled with mobile quarterbacks, even though he didn't really run a lot. But yeah, it's more of a let's see how the Lions rebound, and let's see how this young team can move forward going into the bye after tonight.
Yeah. Let's see. I mean, I'm curious, but I have to see from this team if we're going to start talking top 5 teams. I have to see. You got to win tonight, double digits. You have to win by a couple touchdowns because it's not a good team, Josh. There's some good individual players, but it's not a good team. And if you want to talk about star power, but Detroit doesn't have star power. That's not what the Lions are about. But that's Vegas. That's supposed to be about star power. You know what I mean? And obviously, I think you agree with me on this, but Josh McDaniels is running that thing in the ground. He's a terrible coach. I do not like him. And he's just a Patriot guy.
I agree 100%. The fact that he got a job after the way that he ran the Broncos,
agreed.
His first head coaching stint is beyond mind-boggling. He does not deserve to be.
He's losing the team. They just had a meeting.
Yeah, he's a great
meeting.
He's a great offensive coordinator. Like,
that's fine.
He showed that, but head coach, like, no, he can't do it.
No, and I'm actually not like upset about what I've seen on their offense. Not that I care, anyways. But like we've seen them on a few primetime games for some reason. But like the offense, what they're trying to do, I'm not angry with. Maybe you need to feed Devontae a little bit more, but like they have some dudes. Like you talk about the Patriots. In my opinion, that's a guy that the Patriots shouldn't have got rid of. They got Kendrick Bourne now, but help me out with the name.
Kendrick Bourne.
No. Kendrick Bourne went off, but I'm saying he got traded?
No, Kendrick Bourne actually was just ruled out for the year with a torn ACL.
Yeah, see, that's sad because he was coming on. But the dude, receiver that came from the Patriots over to the Raiders, help me out. Opposite of Devontae Adams.
Jacoby Myers.
Jacoby Myers. That's a guy that always, if you play fantasy football or whatever, you knew, okay, he's going to get targets. He makes catches, doesn't score a lot of touchdowns, but he's been awesome there for them. Opposite Devontae, which doesn't hurt, right? He'll open it up a little bit for you.
Oh, absolutely.
But when they traded away Darren Waller for some weird stuff, that offseason was just weird for them. And I'm like, okay, so where are they going to go? And they brought him in. I'm like, okay, that's a pretty good 1-2 punch, and they've been fine. Now their quarterback's garbage. I don't
See,
like Jimmy Garoppolo at all.
see, the wide receiver that I expected to really go off, who hasn't doing anything in Vegas right now, when Jimmy Garoppolo, signed there, because he's a a
Yeah,
dump off type of quarterback, 10, 15 yards down the field, is Hunter Renfro.
they don't use him anymore. He doesn't
They
get
don't
snaps.
use him. Like he lives underneath in the middle of the field. You know what I mean?
Do you know he was a Pro Bowler last year?
Yeah.
He doesn't get any touches anymore.
Yeah.
That was the dude when you get down in the red zone, he had this move.
Oh,
Remember?
yeah.
Yeah, he had him like he was kind of like a poor man's like
Danny Amendola.
Thank you.
Like,
That Wes
Julian
Welker. Wes
Julian
Welker.
Edelman, like
We're
those
just
type of
naming
guys,
wide
right.
receivers. But like I mean
But he's that type of player though. Like
yes.
he's shifty, can turn his hips quick. Like
I never understood that. You know what I mean? I'm like, why are they not using that guy? Because I feel like he'd be perfect, but Jimmy G, man, he's just not. And we know you play fantasy football. If you had any like Debo or whatever, you never knew what you were getting with Jimmy G. Because you're like, okay, he doesn't throw to his dude. He throws to his tight ends a lot, but like that was Kittle. Now I have no idea, with Meyer and Hooper.
right?
But that offense it's not that bad, man. And he's, in my opinion, is the problem. Derek Carr is actually playing good football right now. And he's got his limitations too. Okay, because I think Jameis Winston could probably be starting there, and a lot of people might laugh at that, but I don't think there's that much of a difference between the two. But Carr, I was surprised when they moved him and didn't bring him back because he was the best thing that they had. And then you bring in a Jimmy G guy who, why not just start over? And that might be what they do after the year, but you're going to lose your job because you're trying to bring in Patriot guys. I just don't get that. I don't understand.
That's what Josh McDaniel has done, though. Even like going back to the Bronco day, that's what he tried doing there, and it didn't work out. So I'm not surprised to see that all the cast-offs of the Patriots, coming to
Here I say, talk about Jacoby Myers. This is another one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not working, and he needs to get a new philosophy or go back to being a coordinator for somebody.
Yeah, I mean, thank God that he had Tim Tebow because he won a playoff game for him, right? So, just saying.
Can't throw. Go Gators.
Right, exactly. He can't throw. Well, he just beat the Steelers in overtime there. So,
right.
I don't know. But yeah, man, back to the Lions. Listen, this is definitely a must-win game for me because, for one, you don't want to have that chatter of fans. Not that they care about what fans say, but get back to what you need to be doing. Winning ball games, beating teams that you should be beating. You didn't lose a game that you should have won. You lost a game that you weren't expected to win. Now, do you need to win some of those games? Yes, you do. If you want to win a Super Bowl, do you have to win those games? Well, obviously, almost every week in the playoffs, right? So,
yeah, to me, like you just said, though, some of those games they have to win, like a must-win game.
Yeah.
I think the second to last game of the season at Dallas,
you
have to win. You have to win that game, not only because of potential playoff seeding, but going into Dallas and showing them okay, playoffs are right around the corner. Like, you're gonna come to our house next time. You know what I mean?
Well, of course. I mean, listen,
we want to keep a sour taste in their mouth. So
let's look at the rest of the schedule here, and let's just pick wins or losses. Okay. Obviously tonight, I think they win that game. You with me? Okay. And then next week's is kind of tough, man, because
they going to a bye next week.
Well, after that, I'm saying the next week on the field, November 12th, they're playing the Chargers. I got to tell you, and I know that I think the Chargers are 3-4 now, but the thing is nobody can tell me any different. Herbert is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I think he's
top seven.
I think
top seven.
He's top 7, right? Well, that qualifies as one of the top, right? So he's right outside of those top tier guys, right? But he is in the discussion of could be top 5 guys. But that offense, Austin Eckler's starting to turn it on, man. They're finally starting to go to their rookie receiver Johnson. that's going to help them. Obviously, Josh Palmer, that I think he's kind of filling in for that second tier. He's got a knee injury, but I mean, it doesn't matter what year it is. Allen's going to ball out, man.
Yeah.
Always does. Always does. He's a player. So that to me, that could be a loss. I could see that being a loss. It's a 4 o'clock game. What are your thoughts on that?
I think the Lions win that game.
I don't think it's going to
Um,
be easy though.
I know. I think it's probably going to be a 3 to 6 point game.
No,
30-24, 33-27
I say they win that game if
coming
Dave
out
Montgomery's back.
no, they'll win that game without him too, in my opinion.
I don't see that.
Coming out of the bye is why I say they win that game. It gives them extra time to scout them, to see what they're doing, look at film tape,
Yeah.
things of that nature in terms of having that extra week to prepare.
Yeah.
So yeah, because of that, I think they win. If they're just, if they don't have a bye next week, I could see that being a loss as well. But I think the bye, kind of helps them, get focused and, potentially, I mean, the Chargers could be a playoff team too, honestly. Like
I agree.
they really
They're going to have to go on a run, but yes.
they really could be. So so it's definitely a measuring stick game in my opinion as well. Especially going to LA.
Yeah.
So no, I think the Lions win that game though, but I could see a loss. But yeah, I expect the Lions to win that game. That's a game that the Lions have to win if they want to show that they are, in the great to elite category.
Well, the next game after that obviously has to be a beatdown. The Bears come to Detroit. That's a win. That's got to be a win. I don't care.
I say that's a win, but I say it hesitantly. And
not if Badgens or whatever is playing. That dude's garbage.
I agree. If he's playing, I agree. We should blow them out. If Fields is back on the field again, we struggle with mobile quarterbacks. And
we remember them last year though when we absolutely whooped him.
The Bears, for some reason, outside of that one game last year, like over the last 3 or 4 years, for some reason, the Bears always keep it close with the Lions.
Fair enough, but
they always keep it close. So it's a nerve-wracking game for sure, no matter how bad the Bears.
The thing is it just depends because you can agree with this. You don't know what Justin Fields you're going to get. The dude that balls out there, throws 4 touchdowns and runs all over the field, looks like Michael Vick, or the dude that just like can't complete a pass and looks like he's a machine, like he's just like mechanical. I don't understand what's going on there. If that's coaching, because it's been a few coaches there, or the dude can't play quarterback. It's one of the two. Now, is he slippery? Yes. Regardless, he's going to be slippery. So that can give them fits for sure, especially indoors at Detroit. Now, after that, Packers come to town. I think, again,
that's a short
murder
week,
the
right?
Packers.
That's Thanksgiving. It's a short week.
Yeah, but it's still a win, in my opinion.
Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out the Thanksgiving game. But yeah.
That's it.
Okay, yeah, so that's a short week going into there. So, that's got to be a win as well. I mean, divisional, you got to set the tone in the division first. So having back-to-back divisional games right there, allowing yourself more separation, yeah, that's got to be a win.
Now, here's the one that gets me, okay, and I think this is a loss, and maybe you disagree.
Orleans?
Yeah,
New Orleans.
That's a tough place to play, man. And I think that team will be playing pretty good. Obviously, with Kamara. Kamara looked good yesterday.
Kamara's looked good since he came back.
Yeah.
To be honest, like I expect the Saints to win that division.
Yeah. Oh, I think when they got Carr, they signed him. I thought, okay, they're probably going to win the division because they're good enough. Not saying they're great, but they have some talented dudes.
That's what I was about to say too. Like the Saints, like even though their record isn't that great right now, like they got some guys there. Michael Thomas is kind of having a resurgence this year. He's had at least 5 catches, I believe, in every game this year.
Well, and then they got Raheed Shaheed. He's 3 catches for 150.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Chris Olave, hopefully he can only speed on the field and not off it.
Oh, boom. That's sad. And then talk about corners.
Taysom Hill, like they just got
Taysom Hill can play.
Yeah, there's weapons everywhere there.
Yeah,
their defense are probably top 10, top 12. I mean, they can do it on both sides of the ball.
Well, not
Davenport off the edge, like
Marshawn Lattimore. Come on, dude.
Marshawn Lattimore, like they're going to be a problem for sure. The Superdome is always loud too, so I can see that being a loss.
Yeah, and I know he's old, but coming off the edge for the Saints. Help me out. They got a defensive end there. He's been playing for years. Cam Jordan, bro. Cam Jordan can still play.
Jordan and Davenport's going to be a problem.
Yes, agreed. And then after that, I think that in my opinion, it gets pretty soft for a couple weeks because then you go to Chicago, which listen, I know you're like, oh man, but that's Justin Fields, another dude that can't throw, and then you're playing
Right.
him at Chicago. He's going to be cold. It's
Probably going to be
December 10th,
snowy.
snowy.
Right. We
I
got a run game
mean,
now. We got a run game now to kind of counter.
Montgomery will be
Comp,
healthy then, and then he wants to run
compliment.
all over his team,
Absolutely, yeah.
right?
Going on the road in wintry conditions, you got to have a run game. And yeah, Montgomery back. I think that's going to be a Montgomery game, unfortunately.
Next game is either a blowout or it's going to be surprising. Broncos come to Detroit. Thoughts?
I'm gonna lie, that's a game I've been looking at tickets for.
Right. Honestly, though, that's interesting. And they
like
should be cheap. So,
I like the makeup of the Broncos roster. I really do.
Yeah.
They're just young. You know
what's that team going to look like though? Come December 17th, I don't know.
Oh, December. That's my birthday, brother. There you go.
There you go. Right. What's it going to look like then though? It could be a little bit different.
Could be a little bit different defensively for sure. Is where the Lions should focus tomorrow.
Is Russell Wilson playing quarterback then?
If he's not injured, yes.
He has to be. They don't what do they have there? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
but I just feel like
Plus,
Sean Payton doesn't like him. That's over with. He said this is the worst coaching job ever here, and then he started 1-0-4 or something. I mean,
yeah,
he started to look better. It's looking better.
If Sean Payton had his way, he'd call Drew Brees.
Of course he would. Of course he would. He'd say, "All right, you're terrible at broadcasting. Let's try this now." And then the week after that, Lions Vikings. That's going to be an easy win because no Kirky. At that point, I don't know that they're even in the race. So listen, Hawkinson is going to go off. I think Justin Jefferson does not come back if they're out of the race.
Well, you have to think about it too. They're 4-4 right now, so they're still technically in it.
They're in it, but I'm saying that's 1,
Lions,
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 7 weeks from now. They're going to lose most of those.
But I understand. But listen, trade deadline's tomorrow. We don't know if they're going to go after a quarterback or not.
I can't see it, man.
And who's actually available? You know what I'm saying?
Well, who's available? Who's available that's going to make them any better?
That's the thing. If someone's available, they can pull somebody off of somebody, to keep them afloat. I mean, you can't sleep on the Vikings, especially with their defense have been playing lately. And that to me, that's got to be their bread and butter. With Kurt out, Justin Jefferson out right now, it's got to be that defense.
You want to know what's the irony about this though, Josh? Listen, when Aaron Rodgers went down with an Achilles, they're like, "Oh, we'll trade for Kirk Cousins." And it's like, well, no, because the same injury happened. But
right,
I am with you though. They have to get somebody because you can't be playing Hall.
Yeah,
you can't.
Yeah, Hall or Mullen, you just can't, especially when you're 4-4. If the Lions win tonight, then you don't.
Here's a name for you.
You're 2 games behind them, like still much in it.
Jacoby Brissett. What about that?
Wouldn't be surprised if that's the name that goes.
Because you know who's looked pretty darn good? Sam Howell has looked. He threw for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. Hey, what about Will Levis, bro? Dude, what about Will Levis?
Dude, believe it or not,
Tannehill.
I don't know if I still have the messages or not, but Will Levis was my number 1 quarterback coming out of the draft.
He looks good, man.
And that's easy to say now after the game yesterday, but I have messages to back that.
Man, his
from months ago.
His girl thing trying to get back with him too. Right. she's been blowing up on what TikTok, Instagram, whatever it is, but she was on his arm during draft night while he was falling down the draft, and my dude can play, man. That's another name, Ryan Tannehill. He's not bad. He could go to Minnesota. Why would you not?
I believe he's injured right now, though. I think that's why Levis got the starter. They pulled him,
but he's going to be back next week, and I don't think they're going to play him
after the way Levis played.
Apparently, Malik Willis is just hot garbage because they won't even play him.
Well, he played a little bit yesterday. I think he had like negative 1.6 fantasy.
Yeah,
points.
He had 1 snap, so he's terrible. I mean,
must have got sacked or something because he had negative 1.6.
Yeah, he did. They're like, you can carry the ball, but you're not going to throw it. So, right. But I mean, Will the Thrill, man, going up to DeAndre Hopkins,
just 3 times, man. DeAndre looked good.
He looked good. Okay, so DeAndre Hopkins can still play. So
Yeah,
that's another name.
if Will Levis is playing the way he can, though, too, like that's a team that can steal the division from the Jaguars, in my
Well,
opinion.
I still believe that they're trading Derrick Henry, and I know that they said they're not. I still think they trade him. Why would you keep him around? I like their
Baltimore,
backup.
Baltimore makes the most sense with J.K. out. I mean, Gus Edwards has looked nice, but come playoff time, you need a bruising
What about
type.
Cleveland, man? Their backs are hurt.
Yeah, but are we really believing in them? I
I
mean,
think
does
that
does
defense can
Hen
win anything. Now, is
Hen
Deshaun coming back and is he going to be any good? I don't know. PJ Walker ain't going to win you the division. I can tell you that right now.
yeah,
So, but like
yeah,
if
two players. If I'm the Cleveland Browns, who I'm gonna go get one is Derrick Henry, like you said. They need that
oh
bruising
yeah,
back. Playoff ball, wintry conditions, especially if you're playing in Cleveland, you need a running game. You don't have that right now, in my opinion.
100%.
Second would be a former colleague or college teammate of Deshaun Watson, who's not getting utilized in Vegas anymore, and that's Hunter Renfro.
Oh my gosh, man.
Like their chemistry in college was absolutely insane.
Yeah, that'd be great, man. That'd be great.
Those two additions right there put them in probably the top, probably 2 to 3 teams, I believe.
And then you fire Stefanski and then bring in Dabo. No, I'm just playing, but but hey, the rest of these games, obviously after the Vikings, it's Cowboys, which I got to tell you, that game's gonna be fun.
That's gonna be a fun game. It's a game that scares me though. Like I said,
How did Dak look yesterday?
I don't like Dak.
I know, but how good did he look, man?
Don't care.
Brandon Cooks is finally getting the ball, so it's about time.
Of all the quarterbacks that
I hate Dak. I'm just saying.
Torn their ACL. Why can't he be top of the list?
Oh my gosh.
I'm
Oh my
kidding.
gosh.
I'm kidding.
This guy.
I don't like him, but I do not wish injury on anybody. But I do not
Yeah,
like him.
let's
at
keep
all.
his Achilles intact. But then the Vikings after that to end the season, which I think Teddy Bridgewater plays that game probably.
Yeah. Is that the one at to end the year? That's at Detroit, right?
That's at Detroit, but I still think
that-
they'll give Teddy the start.
Is that New Year's Day?
January 7th.
7th. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, I think at that point, I think the Lions have already clinched the division, probably a top 2 to 3 seed. Obviously, if you win the division, I don't think the South winner is going to catch them.
I'm not sitting my guys though every week because you see how that works. I'll sit them the last week of the season.
Last week of the season for sure, just to kind of give them a rest going into the playoffs. But you got to keep them kind of fresh, and with up to speed, game speeds, things of that nature. Like you can't just get a first round bye and then be off for 2 or 3 weeks.
Agreed. So, all right, man. Let's kind of wrap things up here, and that's what happens when you work at 4:00 in the morning, which I don't know how you do it, but you do it somehow. The final for you tonight. If we're gonna put, I don't know what the over under is right now. I don't have it in front of me.
It was 7.5. It was 7.5 this morning.
Well, there you go, 7.5, and I mean, I think the Lions cover on that. I think they win by, I'm going to say 34-20.
34-20. So you think they're going to score 2 touchdowns, 2 field goals? I'm right around the same score. I was going to say 31. Like 31, like 14, 34, 17-ish. I think it's a double digit win as well.
Yeah.
I think the Lions get to that, that 30-point mark, and I wouldn't be surprised if they hold the Raiders under the 20-point mark. But if the Raiders do get over 20, it's going to be like 21, 23, something like that. But I expect the Lions to win by double digits for sure.
It's going to be fun. Listen, like I said, I totally expect them to beat up on the Raiders because I don't think they really have a chance in this game. But weirder things have happened. We've seen it happen, right? So I wouldn't expect it, but I think Max Crosby probably has 2.5 sacks. I think it's very, very possible because although we have a great offensive line, that dude is different. He's different.
I believe he's on the left side of their line too, which means he'll go up against our right tackle, which is Sewell, and he's known for holding. So that kind of scares me.
Listen, Sewell's great, but yeah, he does hold. It does happen. He's athletic, which helps him. He can move his feet. It's not like having Vitae over there or something like that, but I feel good about that. I mean, I think obviously on our left side, that's I feel like I believe more in Sewell than I do in I don't like Ohio State, obviously, but
Taylor Decker.
Taylor Decker is still, I think, in my opinion, our best lineman. I
Oh yeah, for
believe
sure.
so.
Yeah,
You
Panay
know,
Sewell's catching up, but yeah,
he is.
A healthy Taylor Decker is probably our best lineman. I agree.
Yeah, he's been nice. So, but hey, we'll see what happens. You'll probably get some double teams. You'll probably see a little chip here and there from your tight end. You know, you got to do that. Um,
I have an over under for you.
okay, let's see it.
Over under going for it on fourth down 3 or more times.
Going for it. Ooh, you got some over under a couple things. Okay.
No, on just that right there. How many times do the Lions go for it on fourth down? Do you have
Gosh, man, he drives me crazy.
over under 3 times? What do you got? You think they
I'm
get
gonna
three
say I'm gonna say he does it twice, so I'm gonna say under.
under
But
three?
my
Okay.
gosh, it would not surprise me. What do
Yeah.
you got?
Depending on the flow of the game, I can see it being over. Just a cable. It's just it drives me
Uh,
crazy.
I it,
Whatever.
it drives me insane to see him do that stuff, man. He does it in it like they'll be in their own side of the field and he'll do it. I'm like,
Yeah.
why? We're up by 17 or whatever. You know what I mean? Like you give the team momentum, but that's just the style of play that they go with, man. That's what they go with, and um, I could see him doing it a couple times tonight.
Well, they need to get it cleaned up because that's not working against the
No, they do.
Niners and the Eagles and the Chiefs or the Bengals if they make it to the Super Bowl. That's not working against them guys.
Agreed. Okay, so I got some more for you. All right. Devontae Adams receiving yards. The prop is set at 75.5. Now, he hasn't surpassed 57 yards in any of the past 3 games, but Garoppolo is expected to play in this one. Are you taking the over or under on 75.5 yards for Devontae Adams?
Over easily.
You're taking the over. Okay.
Yeah, they're gonna be throwing all night, so I can see
Well,
that.
Jacoby Myers has helped, but I think Devontae Adams could have a huge game. I really do.
And yeah, with us hurting the secondary, the cornerback position more,
Yeah.
I feel like Devontae can feast tonight.
I got one for you. You ready for it? Jahmyr Gibbs coming off his biggest game as a pro. 11 rushes for 68 yards and a touchdown, 9 catches for 58 yards. Are you expecting that to carry over to this game for a rookie running back? I'd say in terms of over for 58 yards or 68 yards rushing, I'm going under
Yeah,
personally.
I'm gonna go under that as well, but I still think he eclipses 100 all-purpose yards.
Now,
Touchdown or
this
two.
is interesting. ESPN are saying bet the over on the 69.5 rushing yards. That's what he's at. His 69.5 is the number. I just don't see that. I don't
see.
But
it
the
either
Raiders
unless-
defense, it's given up the 9th most rushing yards, 129 a game. It's
Yeah, and I mean it's possible because he's a home run hitter. Like I said, he's a CMC type of player. If he can find a hole with just one time, he can break it. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't expect it.
another prop bet. Jared Goff, over or under 272.5 yards for the game. So I'll tell you this much
I'm
before
gonna
you.
say under. I think he goes. I think he goes for 250, 260, and probably 2-3 touchdowns.
So Goff's home road splits. This has been big. Okay, Goff averages 267 yards at home, but on the road, it's 220 yards. So